What's up, Indiana? Welcome to Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The NBA playoffs are upon us. Big news in the men's hoops transfer portal. And the NFL draft is less than a week away. Lots to discuss. Thanks for joining. Saddle up. Indy Sports Nation, let's go. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Big Mike. Be hanging out with you for the next hour, maybe hour 15. We got a lot to talk about, so we may go a little over today. We'll see how this goes. Hope you've all had an amazing week. Glad the weekend is here. And thank you for joining. Again, if you're watching live or on the replay, I cannot thank you enough. But man, as I said, a lot to discuss. We got to talk some IndyCar first and foremost. We'll get on that on the other side. But as I mentioned in the intro, we got the NBA playoffs are here. Got a lot to discuss on that. The Pacers, as you can imagine, big news in the transfer portal this week. We'll touch on some Indy Ignite. Quick update on the Fisher's Freight. Quick update on the Indy 11. And then obviously at the end, we're going to have my boy Zach, who contributes to the Blue Stable here in Indianapolis. He's going to come on the last part of the show. And we're going to talk Colts draft. What could happen, what may happen, what may not happen. I mean, the unpredictabilities is, who knows? We think this should be predictable, but again, it's the Colts and Chris Ballard, who really knows. But before we get into all of that, as you know, we get to give some love to our amazing sponsors, Planet Jerky. The jerky's on a whole other planet. Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Raw Nutrition, our latest and greatest sponsors. So before we dive into it, let's get a word from our great sponsors, and we'll dive into some IndyCar on the other side. Thanks for joining once again. Big Mike here, Indy Sports Nation, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also it promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much again for joining, whether it's live or on the replay. I cannot thank you enough. Quick shout out to our latest and greatest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use that promo code IESR, get your 10% off. Some of the best supplements out there. Check them out. Be so kind on the X platform, or if you're still calling it Twitter, whatever works for you. Show page at IndySports_IESR, or you can follow the old personal account. I'm at the Chill Mike. Appreciate you for that. If you're able to become as part of the supporters club, $5 a month. Go to Spreaker.com/podcast/Indy-Sports-Nation. $5 a month just helps us keep going and keep doing our thing and whatnot. So if you're able to do that, I know things are crazy. That is much, much appreciated. If you're this is fairly new, but even at my old age, I guess I'm on TikTok now at chill.mike7. Give me a follow there as well if you like. It's just more of me, basically it's me hanging out, having a beverage somewhere. But with some sports, obviously. Duh. Again, if you're watching live on social media platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, what have you, hit me up in those comments. Much appreciate that. Love to interact. Just makes it so much more fun. Obviously, let's keep them sports related. Let's keep them PG. Appreciate that very, very much. Got a couple already coming in. My boy Taryn, as always. Good evening. Have an awesome show. He just wrapped up his SoCal sports show here recently. It's a very good show. He also does Set Point as our volleyball show. So if you're into the volleyball, I would recommend checking him out. He knows his stuff. As the boss man, it is Big Mike, baby. It is Big Mac indeed. In fact, real quick, I'm going to be on with him in about 8 o'clock Eastern, the Fighting Moment, which is our IE Sports Radio flagship show, along with our Show of the Land, Jen B, who does Cleveland, covers Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio sports and whatnot. But she'll be on there as well. So that'll be 8 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to hanging out and chatting with them later on this evening. So all of that, let's dive into some IndyCar. Kyle Kirkwood with the big win at Long Beach this past weekend, and he winning from the pole. He's had good luck there. He's won their 2 out of the last 3 years. Wild race too. If you saw it, when I say wild race, I'm not saying there was a bunch of wrecks or cautions or anything like that. I mean, in fact, so far, I think there's only been like 1 caution in 3 races. It's insane how few yellows there have been in these 3 races so far. But where it started getting kind of wild was the tire strategy. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with how this goes, they've got to run a certain amount of laps on each tire. Right, I believe at Long Beach it was like 2, something like that. So there's typically like a harder tire, and they're usually colored, so they'll say green, red, black, red, whatever it may be. But when it comes down to it, essentially, there's a harder tire, a softer tire. The softer tends to give you a little bit more grip. They would argue the harder tire, once it gets up to temperature, it's going to give you a little bit more speed. So in this case, most of these guys started on the soft. And Newgarden pitted with 2 laps in. He got his 2 laps, and then he went to different tires. And then that forced just about everybody else with a few laps later to do their pit stops. So you had pit road was just insanely busy from like lap 2 to like 3 to 5. I mean, that's something you typically see, but obviously these street horse or even road course races, you're jockeying for position because you want to get up front and obviously try to get that clean air and just hopefully it'll keep you in front. And man, I tell you what, it almost worked out for Newgarden on the strategy. As a non-fan of his, I'm personally glad it didn't. But I mean, it almost worked. But he ends up getting, just due to the pit rotation, he finds himself up in the top 5, and he had a fast car, and then a seatbelt issue. So I don't. It kind of cracked me up because that's how they end up losing the championship last year with Will Power. Now, that was a long shot for him to win, but he put himself in a position where he could have, even though it was a long shot. But then he had the seatbelt issue, and that put him like 4 laps down, and the race was over. So here we go again with Penske. Someone needs to tell Penske to figure out their seatbelts. It's wild to me, and apparently it happened to him like a few times. And initially, I know some may think, well, wait a minute, it's a seatbelt. He could. The thing is, guys, when you get into one of these Indy cars, you're in so tight and so secure. So even the slightest little thing like a seatbelt being weird will make them very, very uncomfortable. So it was just a wild sequence. So with all of that happening, and then he ends up finishing like last or something, and it's not been a good start for Penske. I expect that to turn around once we start getting into the month of May, which we're almost there. We start seeing some more ovals come on the circuit. I expect Penske will probably find their way back up near contention, but obviously it's early start to season. But let's get into the couple other things about the race. Kyle Kirkwood, obviously, with the winner. So near the end of the last round of pits, Alex Palou, who's again on another level, pits, and then Kirkwood pits right after him. So essentially what has to happen here is Kirkwood's got to beat him out of the pits, right? So Palou's up full speed. He's coming around the track. Here comes Kirkwood, off of pit road. and it's close. I mean, you see Kirkwood coming out, you see Pelot full speed coming in. It's like, oh man, if Pelot catches him, this is going to be a 3 straight for Pelot. I mean, he's going to win. And so Kirkwood beats him out, but the thing is, Pelot is right on him, just right on his bumper. And so with that being said, Kirkwood now has to hit all of these turns essentially perfectly. Because if he doesn't, he's gonna get loose, he'll wiggle a little bit, and Pelot will get around him, and Pelot will just blow him away with clean air, and that'll be all she wrote. So there's a lot of pressure on Kyle Kirkwood there. And as someone who's watched IndyCar for a while, I was just waiting for Andretti just to step on their junk, for lack of a better phrase, because they're known to do that. They've got good drivers, but for whatever reason, the past few years, they just, even when they have good qualifications or they're doing water race, somebody messes up, whether it's something in the pits or a driver error. Typically, Kirkwood doesn't mess it up, but as a driver, but sometimes it's usually in the pits or something. And but to his credit, he drove perfectly, and then eventually pulled away, and that was all she wrote. But here he is, but Pelot finishing second, so not a bad start for Alex Pelot when you think about it. 2 wins and then a second place. Yeah, he's doing just fine. But a couple of things I wanted to mention too was this was just this top 10 real quick. I just want to blow right through it. So obviously Kirkwood with win, Pelot comes in second. Christian Lundgaard, good start to the season for him, coming in a third for second week in a row. Good on him. Followed by Felix Rosenqvist in fourth. Again, what a start for him going to Meyer Shank. He was seen as the redheaded stepchild at Arrow McLaren, I think. And holy cow, he's fourth. Will Power fifth, McLaughlin sixth. Or your Penske guys. Colton Hurtis coming in seventh again. Andretti had a good weekend, so good for them. The Iceman, one of my favorites, Scott Dixon at eighth. And here's a couple news of the top 10, which I love seeing this. Stingray Robb, and yes, that is his real name, folks. Stingray Robb, that's his name. Named after the Corvette. His first top 10, he's at ninth, and Kiffin Simpson, his first top 10, rounding out the top 10. So real quick, after the three weeks, we got Pelot still holding the top spot, obviously. Kirkwood in second, Christian Lundgaard third in the points. Again, I love this. Rosenqvist fifth. You got Colton Hurta, Rosenqvist fourth, Colton Hurta fifth. Then again, 6 and 7, you get to your Penske guys, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin. They're not going to go away. They're going to be around. I promise you. Pato O'Ward 8, Scott Dixon 9, and Alexander Rossi rounding out the top 10. So the next race for IndyCar will be at Barber here on May 4th. So they get a little bit of a break, which I do like that with IndyCar. Obviously with Easter coming up and what have you. But then obviously the month of May is huge, right? And we'll talk a lot of IndyCar in the month of May because we got Barber first weekend of May, followed by the Soncio Grand Prix, which is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then obviously the big one, the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500. So that's all coming up in the month of May. So a lot of IndyCar to discuss going forward. Hit the comments real quick. My boy George checking in. Big Mike is my Pacer boy. We'll get him on here, get him back on here very soon as the Pacers are be tipping off game 1 tomorrow. And boy Ralph checking in, our Pittsburgh guru off the Yinzer report. He's watching the Mets tonight. Live, so good for him, man. Thanks, appreciate you checking in, Ralph. As always, let's move in here real quick. Let's Indy Ignite. Tough, been a tough go for these ladies as of late, unfortunately. Losers of 3 straight, and tough one to Vegas here this past week. 5-set loss. 16-25, 27-25, 25-16, 29-31, 15-12. So valiant comeback there, not 4-set, just could not quite finish it out. Katie Baird, 28 kills, Anna DeBay with 13 kills. The good news is, there's some good and bad news that came out of this past week outside of the loss. They're in 4th place. They still control their destiny when it comes to the playoffs. And again, a vast majority of their matches are at home, which is where they have excelled. So not all, it's a tough 3-game stretch, and, not the best performances by them, but, they're still in an okay spot. Not all is lost at this point. But they need to get a couple wins under the belt to get that momentum back. The other news that came out this week, which I don't think is really news. There's a reason that Katie Baird's back here in Indiana, I should say. We kind of, it was the idea that because of member Mena, who's been out for a while, I think a lot of people, including myself, were hopeful that, hey, she comes in and then maybe we get her back and then you just got some firepower here. But she was on an interview here this week, local ESPN radio here, and she did confirm that she is done for the year. So, which is again, it wasn't a huge surprise, but the Ignite tend to keep these things real quiet. They just announce every week that, oh, so-and-so's not playing, so-and-so's not playing. And you go to their site, there's really no mention of it, no articles or anything of but she did say herself that she is done for the year with that foot injury. So unfortunate, and she's obviously bummed about it, but she will come back better than ever. I tell you what, if you haven't watched her in the past, watch her. That woman could just jump straight out of the gym. Her vertical's insane, absolutely insane. So real quick before we get into our first break, just wanted to, there's so much news here. It's funny because we're a small market. Quick note on the Fishers Freight, unfortunately dropped their first game this past weekend to Massachusetts. It was a 50-47 defeat. Late rally in the fourth, just got too far behind. You know what I mean? You get all that momentum, but you just run out of time when you get yourself down too far. So 50-47 defeat. They're back at it tomorrow night here in Fishers. I should say across the street in Fishers. I'm technically not in Fishers, whatever. Against the Bay Area Panthers. Both teams are 2-1. So it should be one heck of a game. It's a Bandit, something that's the mascot, or doing some mascot night or something. I'm like, all right, it's your second game. You're already theming around your mascot. That's interesting, but whatever. It is it is what it is. So I wanted to just give a quick update there on the Fishers Freight. Again, exciting indoor football. If you've never seen that, or whether it's not saying the Fishers Freight obviously, but any type of indoor football, it's just a different twist. It's actually pretty entertaining. So we'll see how they shake out tomorrow night. And one last thing before get this in real quick. The Indy 11 with a win this past week in the U.S. Open Cup play, 1-0 over Miami FC. And they found out today, or I believe it was yesterday, as a matter of fact, that they're be playing the Philadelphia Union on Saturday, May 7th at 7:30 p.m. in Open Cup play. This match, rather, I should say, I'm sorry, was one of those where if you're a soccer fan and you appreciate the game of soccer, you absolutely loved it. Opportunities, both sides, just physical, what have you. If you're a casual fan, you're probably like, is somebody going to score for the love of the big men upstairs? What is happening right now? Pretty cool though. Hayden White there with the extra time of overtime. Right at the end of the match, birthday boy turned 30, gets a game winner, 1-0 over Miami FC, and they will go on to face Philadelphia Union, as I mentioned, Saturday, May 7th at 7:30. So with that said, we will get our first break in here. We got a ton more to talk about on the other side. So first round of breaks, and see you on the other side here. Big Mike, Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
How we doing, sports fans? This is Christian Harvey, your host of Gritsville, USA, your go-to show for all things Detroit and Michigan here on IE Sports Radio. Whether you're here for Gritty Lions talk, getting pumped up for the great Detroit sports renaissance, or hating on your neighbor depending on if they were green or blue, we got you covered. Whether you're in the East, West, or Central, we got you covered. Join me as we tackle through all that the great state of Michigan has to offer in the world of sports. Catch me, Christian Harvey, each week on Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Wisconsin sports fans? I'm Dan, diehard Baholic, host of the Wisconsin Whistle. Check us out every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We're talking Green Bay Packers, Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks, Marquette basketball, Wisconsin football and basketball, and all Wisconsin sports. Don't miss us each week, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning in. Had to give Dan a little bit of love. I was on his show this past Wednesday, so I would encourage you all to check that out. Wisconsin Whistle. We spent about 45 minutes talking Bucks Pacer series. So obviously he's got the Bucks winning that series, and I'll dive into that to my thoughts on a little bit. But if you'd be so kind, go check out that replay. It was a really fun convo with him. Really enjoyed it. He's a really good dude and puts on a really good show too. So thank you so much for that, Dan. Really appreciate that. Let's hit some portal. Big week. I'm going to focus on there. I mean, there's so much in the portal, right? I mean, you can spend hours. You're talking, football, basketball, men's and women's. I mean, it's a full-time job and then some. But I wanted to give a little bit of love here, and I know it's going to be some may be a little bit surprised by this here. Indiana University got to give them a little bit of love here, because they now can. They've got a roster now they can actually put on the court. They've got more than 5 people or 5 players on the team now. I mean, they went from 0, right? And now I believe they're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7. These guys can put a team on the. I mean, let's go, IU. Let's go. Now, I have a little fun of it, yeah, because it's still, as I've said in past shows, it's funny because it's Indiana. They didn't have a roster. But look, silliness aside, I do really like what new coach Darren DeVries is doing there. I do. I really do. So just to update you, obviously his son Tucker's, coming in. So we got him. We got Connor Enright, and I think this was a nice win for him with Lamar Wilkerson, because he had it down between Indiana and Kentucky. And as I've said on past shows, that to me is where the hate is. And that's where my generation and above is like, yeah, we don't like Purdue, but we hate Kentucky. So I don't know, maybe that'll fuel that rivalry again. That'd be great. But yes, picks IU over Kentucky. That's awesome. So you got Tate Conaway, Reed Bailey, Josiah Miles, and of course Trent Sisley, who's a recruit coming in from high school here in Indiana. Look, I like what he's doing. I really do. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you fans right off the bat is patience. I think, and we'll see who else he has. He needs some front court help. So we'll see where that goes. But patience with this guy. I mean, this is a guy they've hired. They really want this guy to be the man going forward, and not another 4-year experiment like we've had, like with Woodson and Archie. Right. So for me, patience. He's got shooters, which is something that IU desperately needs. So he's got shooters. A lot of these guys, though, as I mentioned, played at the mid-major level. They've not played, Big Ten teams, with tougher defenses or SEC teams in a lot of cases. So you're going to have to give him a little bit of patience. But I think, and we'll see who else he adds and brings in, I think this team could be a better team, albeit less talented as the players have had at IU. But it's a better team. It doesn't necessarily equate to more wins or anything like that. I think Indiana basketball, it's been the past few years out there, it's been discombobulated, I think is probably the best way I can put it. Just kind of discombobulated. So, but good for, I mean, hey, it's a great start. Like I said, I like what he's putting together. I like, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, he's at the high school state finals here, something you never saw Woodson at. He's doing things the right way as of now. Obviously, you see how it translates on the court. We got a long way to go. But I'm excited. I'm actually excited for what they're building there at IU, because as I always say, that's what makes the rivalries better. And when Indiana basketball is, playing well, it just makes it a lot more fun. But that, on the other hand, we're going to talk. Obviously, I mentioned that we're going to talk Purdue here real quick as well, because holy crap! I mentioned the losses they've had. Well, they've added Oscar Clough, as we knew, but here we go. We got Liam Murphy, which is a nice add. The big one though is Omar Mayer from that's the international prospect who was seen as maybe the top one out there. Great facilitator, as if Indiana fans are going, yeah, because Purdue needs another one of those. They've already got Braden Smith. But look, with that addition, FanDuel has Purdue as the early favorites to win the national championship next year. That's how highly they're thinking of what Purdue has done in the portal. That's not what Purdue usually does. I mean, that's just not what their MO. But now it's just what this landscape is. You got to do what you got to do. But obviously, Purdue are bringing back everybody except for Colvin and Heidi, who left via the portal. Everyone else is back. They're getting a couple guys back from injury. Daniel Jacobson, as I mentioned in the past, 7'4" guy. So we got another rim protector. Their front court, obviously TKR is back, as I've mentioned. So a lot of things to be excited about here in the state of Indiana come college hoops. Obviously, we got a long way to go before we get back to college hoops. But that was just some big news that's happened here in Indiana this past week. George commented, and the phrase we trust in this, we do well and he gets offered more money somewhere else. You know what, George? I don't think that happens. Indiana's got a ton of money. Indiana still has the history, even though it's been a hot minute. Obviously, the fans are kind of over it, but I wouldn't see that happening. I really do. I think, and listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I think if he's here and they start winning, I don't think he goes anywhere. Just like I don't think Signetti, and when it comes to IU football, is going to go anywhere either. He's been on record as saying how much him and his wife like being in Bloomington. So they still have to throw him an insane amount of money, and then he have to convince his wife. Tough gig, tough gig for the guy there. Let's move on to the Fever. As we know, we had draft this past week, and let's go give them a little red because they wear like 50 different uniform colors anyway. I like what they've done. Obviously, it's been no secret the offseason has been fantastic for them, with all the free agent acquisitions, trades, what have you. So this year they had picks 19 and 20. And the other one escapes me for a minute, but they had 3 picks, and they picked Michaela Timpson from Florida State, forward, defensive minded, gets in there, gets rebounds, someone I think could really help Aaliyah down low, especially from a defensive standpoint. So I really like that. That's one thing they missed last year. For those of us who watched Fever games, as exciting as they were, especially in the second half, they still struggled, the defensive side. Bree Hall from South Carolina. Obviously, South Carolina is a staple in college women's hoops. Speedster. She doesn't score a ton. Fast, very, very aggressive, very good on the defensive side of the ball, which is what head coach Stephanie White's trying to build. And then Yvonne Ejim, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, out of Gonzaga. She's a scorer, which is, again, can never have enough scorers. I don't know exactly where she'll fit here, just because this team's pretty deep now. But obviously, we'll see how camps works out, whatnot, and see what they see with her. But the other, let's get to run the little tick here. The other big news that came out today was they picked up the 4th year on option on Aaliyah Boston because, duh. I mean, of course they did. So she'll be here for another couple seasons. Again, why wouldn't you? She's freaking fantastic. And as some of you may remember or may have heard, that when Stephanie White was introduced, she was like, I want to see like Caitlin and Aaliyah be like the next Stockton Malone combo. So these women aren't going to go anywhere. And obviously here in Indiana, we're excited, right? Because this is a franchise that is now all of a sudden a favorite to potentially make the WNBA finals. So this team is now, on paper at least, a contender. We'll see how this comes on paper or on the court, which I have no doubt that it'll be just fine. So exciting things from the Fever. Lot to be excited about. It's been a while since we've had a championship here in this city, so I would I'm very excited about the possibilities of that, without a doubt. So last piece here before we get to Colts talk. Of course, we got to do a quick preview of Pacers in the Bucks. And look, as I mentioned earlier, I was on Dan's show on Wednesday night. Talked a lot about this, so I would encourage you to go check that out. Listen, this is not going to be an easy series for the Pacers. This is going to be, in fact, I feel like this could be one of the most entertaining series in the first round of the NBA playoffs. I got people in my inner circle think that they're feeling really confident about it, and that's good. That's great. I'm a little bit more nervous about it, to be honest with you. And the biggest reason I think I am is because it's not even the Dame Lillard talk. I know he's out for game 1. There's talk that he very well may come back for the later part of the series. That doesn't really change how I feel about it. My thing right now is Giannis is playing on a whole freaking other planet. I mean, with their win streak to close the season, I mean, this guy is dropping freaking 40 points and 15 rebounds, and what it really scares me is he's getting double digits in assists. And that's one of my bigger worries. Some would say the zone defense that they've played against the Pacers, and that's kind of stymied the Pacers a bit. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I understand that as well. But I'm gonna be a little bit worried if I see Giannis, getting 12 assists against the Pacers, because that means he's getting others involved and others that we don't necessarily want to be involved. Means somebody like Gary Trent Jr. is coming in and torching the Pacers like he's done all season. I shared a stat the other day. He's this season against the Pacers, Trent is 19 of 35 from three-point range, shooting 54%. And it's just the way the attention that Giannis commands, forces double teams and whatnot, and he starts distributing the ball and they kick the ball around, it leaves an open guy at some point. So I'm a little worried on that. But at the end of the day, I think the Pacers are a deeper team. The way Tyrese has been playing the second half, all pro type numbers as your point, 20 points a game, 11 assists type of guy. Milwaukee defensively, I think, is going to struggle with the fact they're going to have to keep eyes on, obviously, Siakam. Miles, I know they'll probably put Brook Lopez on him. I think Miles, I like that matchup for Miles personally. But I think for me, an X factor for me is Nesmith. The way he's been playing the second part of the last month or so, maybe a little longer. And I do anticipate, although I've been a little tough on Nembhard, especially from a inconsistency standpoint, I anticipate him from a defensive standpoint to kind of lock it down. I do. I just feel like now they've got a home series. That was the goal at the beginning of the season, right? That's one of the things I was kind of my own goal as a fan for the Pacers was like, hey, let's get a 4 seed. Obviously, if you get a higher seed, that's better. But at least get a 4, get that first series at home. And honestly, whether it's the Bucks or the Pistons, they're both going to be tough matchups. This is going to be physical. It was chippy last year. You got Portis back for the Bucks. I'm wondering which game he gets thrown out in. I'm going to say by no later than game 3, he's probably ejected. But we'll find out. And I said Porter off the bench has given us a little bit of fits, but I like our bench too. I know TJ struggled a bit this year, but you look at the stats against the Bucks, they've actually been pretty favorable. And the X factor I haven't really mentioned yet, outside of Nesmith and whatnot, is Benedict Mathurin. Also be his first playoffs, and he's had some really good success against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's had a hard time with him. And it's except for that last game they played, which everybody was terrible that game. That was just one of those bad days at the office. So I'm nervous, but it's kind of one of those nervous optimisms. I would say, I think this Pacer team plays like we've seen them play, especially in the 2025 calendar year. I do think they get this in 6, but they got to execute. They got to do things the way that they know they need to do them. And because Milwaukee will not make it easy. Like I said, it'll be chippy, it'll be physical. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. So, and plus, I don't need my boy Dan in Wisconsin to give me the crap. So anyway, it's neither here nor there. Went to comments real quick, then go to our last break. I'll bring our boy Zach in here. Couple our boy Glenn from Bold North Breakdown in Minnesota. By the way, he puts on a great show talking all things Minnesota. Yeah, Greek Freak is amazing, and he'll be asking out if they lose. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. And then he chimes in. I agree. I think the Pacers will win, and I appreciate that, Glenn. Thanks for listening, brother. Give him a watch on the on Bold North Breakdown. Does a great job. So, all right. With that being said, we'll get our last break in. We'll bring in my boy Zach on the other side. Talk Colts draft. Big Mike here, Indy Sports Nation, right here at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Hello, IE Sports Radio family and other sports families. My name is Alden Kay, and I want to welcome you to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you're a fan of the Valley and the Grand Canyon State like me, then I've got the show for you. Tune in every week, where I will update you and give you the latest news for the Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks, ASU Sun Devils, U of A Wildcats, GCU Antelope, and of course, the NAU Lumberjacks. Again, if you're a Valley sports fan and like all that is desert sports like me, tune in every week here on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you then.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. Here on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene. Here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show. So you know what that means. We're talking Colts and the NFL draft, and I can't talk football without bringing my boy Zach back onto the show. Zach, how the hell are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Real quick before we dive into the Colts, you've been on here talking Pacers with me as well. So how you feeling about the series, man? Real quick.
I think me and you are in the same boat. A little nervous for it. I feel like there's more expectation. I feel like last year you're playing with house money. Now you're kind of, hey, can we push the envelope and get a little further, or can we at least get back to an Eastern Conference? So, I'm thinking 6 and 7 games will probably be it. Like it could go 7, but we'd like to see it end in 6.
Yeah, you're right. I said that when I was with Dan on Wednesday night. I think it very well could go 7. I think the only real thing that would shock me is if it was like a sweep or a 5-gamer. I think that's the only way I'd
Yeah.
be really shocked. But
Outside of like a big injury, yeah, I don't see it
Right.
being 5. It's just too competitive. I mean,
Right.
even with teams banged up, I mean, without Dame, it's still going to be competitive.
Oh, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. So, so we'll see how that shakes out. But anyway, it's crazy. I was just thinking, I'm like, wow, by the time I do the show next week, we're going to have round 1 of the books for the Colts for the NFL draft.
Yeah.
They kind of like snuck up on me a little bit, which is crazy. So we'll dive into it. Let me ask you this. I want it's kind of a two-part question here, I guess. Who do you think the Colts will go pick at 14, and also who do you want them to pick at 14?
So who I think they will pick is nobody. I don't think they pick at 14. I mean,
okay,
based on Ballard's history, I just don't see. I don't know if the value is going to be there at 14 for him to say we need to make this pick. That paired with like the draft being really close from the late first to like early third, like I think those prospects are all graded pretty similarly. So I definitely see a trade back happening for Ballard. Who I want is, if he's there, Jahad Campbell is my number one. Like that's who I want. I know everybody's clamoring for Tyler Warren, but it sounds to me around the league like the Jets love him and the Jets are going to take him. And so he's not going to make it past, I think they're at 7.
Right.
So, if Jahad Campbell's not there or if they decide to go tight end, I think Colston, Loveland, I think that's the 2 guys.
Yeah, I think honestly they probably end up with Loveland that's what I think too. I don't think Tyler Warren's going to be there. It would have to be uncharacteristic of Chris Ballard to trade up and do it. But here's my thought. I mean, while I don't think it happens, let's have some fun with it. What if it does? I mean, he's been a little bit against his own philosophy in free agency, where he was signing guys on day 1, which he never does.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it. I mean, there's needs on this team. I mean, Jahad Campbell is a need to me. Some people don't think so, but I think we need that coverage linebacker, that versatile piece. We can, kind of give us like a Darius Leonard weapon that we have, that we haven't had. Like Zaire's great, like he's a great on-ball guy, but like that coverage linebacker spot's so important, especially with offenses. Offenses are attacking the middle of the field more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think outside of that and tight ends an obvious need, I think they're always going to go for the trenches and, he'll definitely draft like an inside O-line. He'll definitely draft a D-line. I think edge still is a need. I mean,
deep edge draft too, which I think is a good thing.
Oh, for sure. I think there's a lot of value in this draft in day 2 and day 3, which I don't think we've had recently where it's been kind of top heavy. I think there's a lot of value with like our 2nd through 6th round picks.
So what do you like about, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but just for those who are watching on the, whether it's live or replay, what do you like about Campbell? I mean, also we just touched on the fact from the coverage linebacker thing, but what else?
Yeah, I think it's just the traits, and I know people are going to say, well, we drafted Anthony because of traits. We've drafted, a few guys for traits, but something about Campbell, like he's able to, you can put him in a blitzing situation. He's very good at being like that 3rd down, like sneak blitz guy, which I think is something that Leonard was very good at. Like, I don't want to compare him to Leonard. They're very different players, but it's just, I feel like we could use him in the defense the way that we use Leonard. Like, he can drop back and make plays, and then he can also just be a guy that sneaks through the middle, maybe keeps contained. He's a raw kid. Like, there's definitely development to be had, but I just think the traits are crazy, off the charts for somebody in his spot. And especially, again, at 14, that value would be unreal to me.
Good question coming in from our buddy Glenn, the Bold North Breakdown. If the Colts trade down, who would they trade with, and who would that team target?
That's a tough one because I don't know that teams are going to be willing. I mean, like, again, 20 through, I think I was looking at a lot of boards today, and like prospects 20 through like 85 are very close So it just depends on team needs. I mean, hey, maybe a quarterback slides and is available at 14. I've seen people talking about Sanders may slide down, or Tyler Shill's getting a lot of hype. I mean, maybe we can make somebody bite on a quarterback.
I was just, you mentioned the name. I had to bring this up. So there was some conspiracy theories going around here, if you will, that Shedeur is going to drop to 14 and the Colts are going to pick him.
I'd like to say that won't happen, but I guess I can't say it won't happen.
Oh, could you imagine if it did? Just imagine it for like a few seconds.
3-way quarterback battle in training camp.
The fan base is going to absolutely be with pitchforks and freaking torches outside of 56th Street.
I can't see Ballard being on the hot seat right now and taking, hey, Shedeur Sanders is my guy. Like, I'm putting my life on the line for him. I just can't see that happening.
No, I can't either. It's funny. It's kind of funny to talk about. I heard that, and I was like, well, if that were to happen, then obviously Richardson's gone.
There may be a team that's willing to, though. And I mean, hey, if he's there at 14, maybe we can get a couple teams to bid up. I mean,
that's true. If he's there, and then that'd be good. I guess that'd be our answer to Glenn there is like, if he's there, somebody may want him in there to trade.
And if you trade back, I mean, a guy that's getting a lot of love right now and kind of climbing his way into the first round is Mason Taylor. I mean, that'd be my guy. I mean, immediate need. I think in this draft, tight end and linebacker need to be addressed early, unless you're doing something in free agency, which they haven't yet. And, the tight end market's supposed to be hot, but we'll see. So, I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, Mason Taylor, if you trade back and you're in the late first, early second, I'd love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would in a perfect world, if you could wave the magic wand, you trade back like a spot or two.
Yeah, right.
That way you can get Campbell, and you could probably get Loveland too.
Yeah.
That would be like the perfect scenario.
That'd be the dream, but I don't.
But yeah, that's not happening.
I think teams are it's gonna be tough to push teams off their spot, and it's gonna be tough to get people to trade down and trade up.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of teams are gonna be a little cautious of that with the value. I mean, I just think, like you said, like it's deep at edge, it's deep at tight end. There's a lot of like traitsy linebackers. It's just one of those drafts you never really know how it'll fall. I mean, seeing a lot of talk about guys sneaking into the first round, guys that we probably never even thought.
Yeah, his name escapes me for the moment. Shame on me, but that is a tight end out of Bowling Green, who's getting like a lot of love.
Oh, Harold Fannin.
Thank you. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, listen, if they, you know how it goes. If they like a guy, they really like a guy. That's who they're going to go with.
To bet on him,
yeah, that's who they're going to go with. I mean, if they're, again, whatever scenario this is or could be, if they really, really like Warren, they're going to do everything they can to trade up and get him. May not work, but they'll at least attempt it. So,
if I was 1 through 6, I'd be calling the Jets and saying, "Hey, you can move up a couple spots and take him early if you really want."
I mean, that's a great pick for the Jets in my eyes too, because I mean, look at Justin Fields there, and that's a new thing going there. So yeah, I mean, that's to me is like
for sure.
So, and yeah, it's gonna be hard to do. You're gonna have to give up quite a bit to get up that high. So
yeah.
Like I said, my thoughts, Loveland. I think they go tight end. It's just my own opinion. I think it's where they go. But hey, you know what? They've traded back before, so if they were to do that, that would be the shock of nobody.
No, yeah, Ballard I mean, it's a good spot if he can find the right deal. It's a great spot. Again, got to kind of budge somebody off their spot. But I mean, even at 14, Campbell or Loveland would be perfect for me. I mean, either one. I would like either one.
Yeah, I lean tight end, and as much as I like Campbell, I lean it just because theoretically, let's say everything goes chalk here within the Colts organization, and it is Anthony Richardson. He's doing. Let's say everything's going great, with his workouts, and he comes in, he looks better, and he's a guy. I just think the more you can get around him, the better off you're going to be. And even though he struggled hitting a 5-foot slant, but just put him in the best opportunity, and then obviously if it doesn't work, then it is what it is.
And I think that kind of separates Loveland for me over Warren. I know that's kind of a big debate right now on Colts Twitter. Loveland's really good.
Everything's a debate on Colts Twitter.
Yeah, Loveland's really good at all three levels. Like
he is.
He's good at those short routes, but he's really good at medium and deep routes. I mean, people get wary of the blocking, but I think the frame definitely looks like he's exactly right. Yeah, like that could be huge for Anthony's development. I mean, we're kind of missing that. I mean, and bringing back Mo kind of takes away the blocking. I mean, you got to
Right.
get a fine blocker. You've got
He
to get
is
a blocker.
very, very much so. It's always can never have too many good blockers, right?
Oh, for sure.
All right, so moving on. I know I made the joke earlier about Shador, and but one thing that's not a joke is Quinn Ewers was here working out not too long ago, and there's chatter that if he's there, potentially round 3 is again the chatter. But the Colts may snag him. What do you think?
I think it's smoke and mirrors to me personally. It just doesn't scream Ballard or Ursay to me at all. I can't see Shane liking him because the arm's just not there. Like, yours had some flashes, but like, he doesn't have an NFL arm. You're going to see a lot of, kind of another Texas quarterback that was on the Colts, Sam Ehlinger. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of, like, he can't really throw like an 8-yard out to the other side of the field because his arm's not there. It's not live like, Anthony's is. And I mean, even Daniel Jones, I mean, I know the signing's not the greatest, but like, he's got a little bit of a live arm. Like, you've got to have that for Shane's offense because, I mean, things are quick, things are, short, and then they're deep shots. And so I just can't see that. I think they reach maybe more for like a high floor guy, maybe like a Will Howard.
That was going to be my next thing to you because that's the other one I've seen him come round 4, and that's where I think if they say a quarterback, that's where I think it is. I think it's round 4.
Yeah, if you can address linebacker and tight end kind of early, I think anything past that, you start looking at like Kyle McCord, Will Howard. Tyler Shaw's getting a lot of love. I don't know that I like him, but
I tend to agree.
Yeah, you start maybe even a Curtis Rourke. I mean, you got to do the physical. You got to make sure the medicals check out. But I mean, I think those high floor guys are definitely guys they would think about bringing in because you have, Anthony, you have Daniel, but then like Jason Bean's kind of one of those, like, maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't, but he has like traits. He's quick on his feet. He's got a live arm. I mean, I just can't see him taking another shot on a quarterback like Quinn.
No, I tend to agree. It's just something that people's eyebrows raise, like, oh, what's Quinn Ewers? Oh, we heard Chris Ballard likes him, and we like our guys. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
not with you. I think it's 4 because obviously at the end of this year, it's all of this is just still depends on how Anthony shakes out, if he shakes out.
Absolutely.
And if he does, then you figure Daniel Jones will be gone, and so then you have somebody to back up Richardson at that point. I wouldn't mind a Will Howard personally. I mean, I'm not a Buckeyes fan. I never will be a Buckeyes fan, but I saw him do some pretty good things on the field this year, so I wouldn't hate it.
I like Howard and McCord. I mean, I think McCord's got a high floor too. I think he showed a lot at Syracuse. I think, maybe a Curtis Rourke again, like if the medicals check out, like he obviously showed the ability to be on the field and, win some games and make the throws. I mean,
right.
I mean, these guys are making better throws than Quinn was, week in and week out.
Right. There's a few more for you here, brother. Do the Colts take a kicker in the final round?
I'm gonna lean no, just because I don't see that elite kicker. I don't see anybody like a McPherson or anything that like you take that pick on. Do they pick up a kicker? For sure. They definitely take an undrafted free agent.
Oh, no doubt.
And they probably look around at who's available in the league and get a vet. But it sounds to me, at least from what I've heard a little bit, is like Schrader's going to be the guy, at least for the next couple.
Yep.
Sounds like Schrader has earned that right to, see what he can do. I mean, it was great, when he was here. I mean, practice squad, he was fine. Preseason, he was great. And then he ended up getting shots elsewhere. And so bringing him back, I think, was a good move and saved a little bit of cap space.
Could have saved more, but whatever. That's
I don't know.
That was an head scratcher. I mean, not that it was a lot more, but still.
I'm assuming that this is all assumptions. I haven't heard anything concrete, but I'm assuming Matt asked to be released earlier rather than later because he probably wanted to start working out.
And I will say this about the Colts, as much as they drive us crazy sometimes, when it comes to things like that, they always lean on side of good faith.
They do, yeah. I think you can look at situations like Ryan Kelly and stuff, and
Correct.
think just doing right by their players. And I'd like to save a little more money, but it doesn't kill us at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking that much money at the end of the day. Um, so one final thing. This is kind of draft related, but kind of not. The one thing a lot of media has been complaining about it. Some fans have been complaining about it, and I try to remind people, hey, he's rehabilitating. He's getting back from his surgeries. He was not doing well. Obviously, as owner Jim Irsay, he's been quiet. You haven't really heard much about him. From what I understand, he was not at the owners' meetings. With Carly was there, I believe. And do you, obviously as a fan, is it important that we hear from him sometime, hopefully sooner than later?
I think it is, but at the same time, I think we're kind of nearing that point where the transition happens to where the girls get to, take over the team. They've obviously, you see them on the sidelines, you see them at the owners' meetings, you see them,
Right.
I think we're starting to get there. From what I could gather, just talking to people around the Colts, Irsay was very much involved last year, just from a distance.
Correct.
Definitely focusing on his health, and I think obviously at the end of the day, health is first. Like we want Irsay,
Yeah, absolutely.
we want Jim to be okay. Like nobody bad for him. So, but I think maybe he's starting to realize that we're getting to that transition where the girls start to take on more and more. And I think they're ready. Like I think we've seen them around for so long, making decisions and studying the game. And I mean, they're out on the field. I mean, they're listening to play calls. They're figuring out how the game flows. They're watching Shane. I'm sure they're in the war room with Ballard, hashing it out. So I think, maybe we're just getting closer to that transition. Maybe he's taken a little bit of a step back, but I think it's definitely health related for sure.
No, I agree. And I just show Larry's comment here. Quick shout out to the boss man, Larry B. Very kind words from you, my friend. I'll be seeing him in a couple hours on the defining moment. Get to co-host with him for a bit. It'll be for our first time. But anyway, man, okay. So I'll throw one more at you before I gotta go off air here. But Anthony Richardson, what's your thought? Just right now, obviously, we still don't know a ton about his offseason, but just kind of what's your gut telling you as of right now?
Yeah, I know we've heard some early reports that, maybe it's not going as well as we thought. But it's early. It's early. We still have a lot of offseason left. I mean, the draft's just now getting here. So, we'll know more coming into training camp. But, I truly think last year was a good wake-up call. I think the benching and, the conversations had behind closed doors, which, it is what it is. We didn't get to find out the situation until later. But I kind of like the way they handled it. I mean, let the team figure it out. Let them figure it out. So I think he's got the right foot. I think he's got, the right mindset. So he's contacting the right people, Josh Allen and Josh Allen's mechanics coach. I think he can do great things. I mean, that's definitely the path that everybody wants him to take. So a solid offseason. And we'll have our answer very early in camp, I assume.
Yes,
he'll either look polished and like a quarterback that's ready to take a franchise, or, we'll be starting Daniel Jones for 17 games.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't even. Like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm looking for the redemption story here. I love a good redemption story, and it feels like it's a very pessimistic view at this point, which is just crazy because we talked about this. It went from drafting him to saying, "Hey, everybody, be patient. He's raw, physically gifted. He's raw. It's gonna take him some time." And then he's hurt. He's rehabbing the whole offseason, and now it's like, okay, now we need you to be good right now. So
yeah,
it's hard, and so I'm of the thought process that I hope he's doing the things he needs to be doing, and I have no reason to think he's not. But obviously, we'll see. You're right. We're gonna find out very, very early in training camp, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think everybody will have a good sense of where this Colts team's at, come the start of training camp. I don't think it'll be any question. So, and the hope is that he's the guy. That's, they were betting on the guy, give him the chance to be the guy. So
exactly right.
You'd love to see him on the field more. So that could be an improvement right there.
Yep. And then what's the old cliche saying, right? The best ability is availability, right?
Exactly. Got to see him on the field.
Yeah, see him on the field, no doubt about it. Well, brother, we're about at the end of it. I get to see you tomorrow, don't I?
We do. Yes.
Yes, we get
Hanging
to
out.
thieve or some bourbon
Yeah.
and watch the Pacers take watch the Pacers take game 1.
They better.
They'll need it, no doubt about it. Zach, thanks for coming on, brother. We'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, see you, buddy.
See ya.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Once again, if you would be so kind, go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button to IE Sports Radio. Appreciate that very, very much. And as I said, once again, you can catch me here in just a couple hours on the Defining Moment with the boss man, Larry, and then Jimmy from our For the Land show that covers Cleveland and Columbus, Ohio. So check us out, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, I'll be back here at the same time next Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. By that time, we'll know who the Colts' first pick is. And we'll see how the Pacers and Bucks series is going. So thank you so much for tuning in, whether it was live or on the replay. Appreciate you all so very much. Big Mike signing off. Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all of the sports. Have a great weekend, everybody.